Hello, this is Temisha here with Educational Tutoring Centers with a demonstration of a practice problem for the ASVAB assessment. The problem says a new wildlife preserve is laid out in a perfect circle with a radius of 14 kilometers. The lion habitat is shaped like a wedge and has an 8-foot high razor fence around it. Two inner sides of the fence meet at a 90-degree angle in the center of the base. How much ground space or area does the lion habitat have? Okay, so let's begin to break this problem down into its components. First thing we have is our circle here that is to represent the wildlife preserve, and then we have this wedge shape here which represents the portion of the lion's habitat. It tells us that we have the two inner fences that make a right angle here, and so this forms a right angle right here. It also tells us that the radius of this circular shaped wildlife preserve is 14 kilometers. The information about the height of the fence is added information in the sense that it's not used in the calculation, other than to let you know that the lions are contained in this web shape by the fence and not allowed to go into the other area. So in order to begin to solve for this wedge shape, we could take the approach of finding the area of the entire circle. So to find the area of a circle, we use the formula A equals pi r squared. And because on the ASVAB you're not allowed to use a calculator, you would have to do all the calculations manually, or if you're able to compute it in your head, do it in your head. You can use a nice clean fraction, which is the ratio of 22/7 to represent pi. You can also use 3.14, which is an approximation, and will give you an answer that may vary a little bit from the answer choices on your test. The radius is given to us as 14, so we'll substitute that in the formula in place of r, and then we're going to square that. Okay, so again we're solving for the area of the circle. Let's put this little circle here, so that's the area of the circle. Okay. Alright, so 14 squared, you would be doing that out by hand if you're not familiar with those multiplication facts up to the 14s. So you would just simply come over here and multiply it out by hand. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Then we put our little placeholder 0 here. 4 times 1 again is 4. And 1 times 1 is 1, so that gives us a product of 196 because those are added. Okay, so we come back over here and we're going to write 22/7 times, we're multiplying this times 196. Okay? Alright, so let's take the approach of dividing this denominator into the numerator prior to multiplying the numerators, because we're going to get a really large number. So 7 goes into 196. So 7 into this 19. I'm going to bring this 22 down. 7 goes into 19 2 times. 2 times 7 is 14 with 5 left over. So 7 into 56 goes 8 times. Now, if you're not familiar with the long division, which I find that some people, not that they never learned it, but that it's been so long ago since they've actually had to do the computation by hand, they've forgotten the process. So let me write it out over here. So 7 goes into 19 2 times. And then 7 times is 2 is 14. And we subtract with division. And 9 minus 4 here is 5, and then we just bring down the 6. And then we find that 7 goes into 56 8 times, because 8 times 7 is 56. We find that there is no remainder, so that's where we get the 28. Okay. Now the next step is to do the multiplication, 2-digit by 2-digit, which is 22 times 28. Okay, so you can see a problem like this does more assessing of some arithmetic skills, this adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And then it throws in some concepts of algebra, which is formulas, and the concepts of geometry with the shapes. So it assesses a lot of different concepts in just this one problem. So 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 times 8 here is 16 plus 1 makes 17. Placeholder 0. 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4 again. Okay, and so multiplication increases things, and so does adding. They go together. Here we saw that dividing things makes something smaller, and so does subtraction. They go together. Okay, so 6 and 0 is 6. 7 and 4 is 11. And 4 and 1 makes 6. So that's 616. Okay? So far we see that the area of the entire circular preserve is 616, and we don't want to forget to add our units here. Okay? Now some people ask, how does the square get into the answer there on the units? And it's because we're not dealing with just linear measures. A linear measure would be just a straight line. Well, we're not dealing with just a straight line and finding, doing the calculations here. And so this is the reason why we're using the square here, and it comes from multiplying two things together. Hope that makes sense. Let's see. The next thing we want to do is look at what portion is the lion's habitat compared to the whole thing. Okay, so we know that this circle here, you may recall that the circle is a total of 360 degrees. Okay, so that's 360 degrees in the circle. And the reason why I'm using degrees is because they told us that about this 90-degree angle here. So we want to find out what portion of the entire thing is the habitat. So let's take 90 degrees out of the entire 360 degrees. And these are both multiples of 10. So if I divide 10 into both of these, I get 9 over 36. And I can reduce that down further by taking 9 into 9, and I get a 1, and 9 goes into 36 4 times. So you may have already known that 90 degrees is a fourth of the entire circle. So it's 1/4. So we want to take 1/4 of the entire area of our circle and divide it by 4. Okay, so again, you can come off to the side and do your long division, which on this one is fairly short. So 4 divided into 616. 4 goes into 6 one time. That makes 4. We subtract. That makes 2 and 1. So the next number here is 5. And that makes 20. And we subtract. And that gives us 1. And we bring the 6 down. And 4 goes into 16 4 times, and 4 times 4 is 16. And we subtract them, we have nothing remaining. So our answer is 154 kilometers for the lion's area.